You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
All parties in the matter of Jocasta versus Oedipus, please step forward. Okay, Mr. Oedipus, you're here today suing Mrs. Jocasta for psychological damages in the amount of $5,000. And you, Mrs. Jocasta, are suing Mr. Oedipus for $1,500 for jewelry that is allegedly stolen. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Mrs. Jocasta, you can start me off with the timeline, thank you. Okay, I was 16 when my husband and I gave our son up for adoption, who is now known as Mr. Oedipus. And where is your husband today? Oh, he passed away 5 years ago from a hit and run. They believe it was from a drunk driver in a Toyota Camry. 5 years ago, you say? Yes. Why do you care? No reason at all. It's no problem. Nothing. And Mr. Oedipus, how long ago was it that you found out you were adopted? About 10 years ago. My uncle was drunk at a party and he slurred it out to me. So my parents told me that my real parents were supposedly living in Massachusetts. I looked on ancestry websites and I couldn't find them. So I decided to search in person. And, looking in all these library databases and all this stuff, but I still couldn't find them. Then, one day, I was at a bar and this guy was harassing Mrs. Jocasta. So I warded him off and we got to talking. Okay, now skip ahead to when you got this idea you were related. Yeah, so a friend made an offhand comment about how we look related somehow, and I knew she had Botox, and I never really asked her age, so it got me thinking, and I was really bugged about it, so I sent away for some DNA tests, and well, here we are. Okay, now skip ahead when you confronted Mrs. Jocasta about this. There was a 901, a domestic disturbance called, is that correct? There was nothing. A few broken plates and a few cuss words. It was all a big shock and a massive surprise for me. Well, it was a surprise for me too. I mean, I had to be hospitalized. And when was that? June 10th to August 15th last year. Okay, well, Mr. Oedipus, you're not getting your $5,000 because it was just to be a surprise and shock for both of you. Now, Mrs. Jocasta, you're suing Mr. Oedipus for $1,500 for alleged stolen jewelry, is that correct? They were actually jewelry I bought for her, so yeah. Mr. Oedipus, did I tell you to speak? No. Okay, so now Mrs. Jocasta, can you please tell me about the jewelry incident? Well, it was after the disturbance, when Mr. Oedipus and I had broken up. Mr. Oedipus said he'd come back the next day to get his things, but the next day when I came back home from work, I noticed that all my jewelry had just disappeared. Is it true that you took them, Mr. Oedipus? Well, I mean, I had bought them. But you see, Mr. Oedipus, they were a gift given to Mrs. Jocasta, and seeing as you gave her the jewelry, they're technically hers. Now, neither of you owe each other money, but Mr. Oedipus, you will give back Mrs. Jocasta her jewelry. That is all. Parties are excused. You may step out.